This is the Morning Swim Show for Tuesday, May 3rd, 2011. I'm your host, Peter Bush. In the Phoenix Monitor today, we'll talk to Nick McCrory. He's the two-time defending NCAA champ in platform diving. Nick joins us right now in the Phoenix Monitor from Durham, North Carolina. Hey, Nick, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
Hey, great. Thanks for having me.
You, two-time platform champ. You've got David Budaya's number, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, he's we've been competing with each other for a long time, and it's always, interesting in the big meets when it's a kind of a showdown between me and him, but good competition, friendly competition. We're also Synchro partners, so we have that aspect in there also, but yeah.
I know, does that make it weird that you guys are kind of partners but then have to compete against each other?
Yeah, kind of. It actually is weirder than I thought it would be, because it's just sometimes we're competing together, and then when we're diving against each other, I have to remember that we're diving against each other. So it's and that we're competing against each other. So it's funny doing both, but I think it definitely I think it's helpful, because competing with him, I know how I should compete with him. I mean, against him.
Are you America's best hope for a medal in platform?
I hope so. I mean, I'm shooting for everything's pointed towards the next Olympics in London. So, I want to be up there representing the U.S. and just doing my best.
Well, David's obviously had a great deal of success in international competitions. You seem to beat him in the college meets, though. So I just wonder, which way is it going to pan out in 2012, or are you guys so even that it's impossible to pick?
Well, right now we're kind of in an unprecedented situation for us. We've both been, trading spots back and forth in the U.S., and we're both really just excited to, get back into training and have another peek at World Championships in the summer. Hopefully we'll both be competing there. We have to finish our qualification next week, but we're just going to try and be ready for that meet, and both of us are going to do our best there, and then the next year it's going to be just everything leading up to the Olympics, and I want to do my best.
David is skipping his senior year at Purdue. He's turning pro. Do you consider turning pro and leaving Duke as well?
No, I'm going to maintain my amateur status, but I am going to be taking next year off from school just to train. I'll be still training here at Duke with my coach, and just taking the year off of classes and focusing on diving.
Now, do you have an injury right now? We heard your shoulder was bugging you a little bit, and that's maybe why you didn't dive in Mexico.
No, I did have an injury. I hurt my shoulder a little bit at ACCs on platforms, so that's why I couldn't compete my full platform list at ACCs and NCAAs. But it's getting better now. No, I competed in England. I did individual there and did my full list at the World Series in England. I didn't do Mexico because I just didn't want to be missing as much school. It's challenging, keeping up with school and NCAA competitions and my international season starting. So, but no, my shoulder is better, and I'm just ready to start training for the summer.
And you guys got a big meet coming up in Fort Lauderdale in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm. We actually leave on Sunday for the USA Grand Prix in Fort Lauderdale on May 1st.
And is that the World Championship qualifying meet? I know it's a little bit different with diving. It's not all based on one meet like it usually is with swimming, but it has something to do with it, right?
Right. The preliminary round for every event, so for my event, men's platform, the preliminary round is going to be the second half of the qualifying process for World Championships. Our Winter Nationals in February in Iowa was the first half of our qualifying procedure. So they take that score, prelims, semifinals, and finals, add them up, divide that by 2, and then you take that into Fort Lauderdale, and the prelim score will be added on top of that. And the top 2 cumulative go to Worlds.
Going back to the talk of injury real quick, we saw a pretty devastating injury at the women's meet with a platform diver who hurt her elbow. You know, yours was more minor, but it's dangerous diving off the platform. I mean, what do you guys do to prevent that as much as you possibly can?
Really, you want to just do a lot of strengthening work with your. I do a lot of strengthening stuff for my shoulders, my rotator cuffs, and everything. And part of the reason why I got hurt was that I backed off of that stuff, and I think just caught myself a little bit off guard. But I'd say one of the best things to do is just make sure that you're focused up there, up on tower. It's easy to make mistakes when your mind might be somewhere else, but that's when something bad's going to happen. You just got to make sure that you're focused, all the time, and always, warmed up and stretched out, and that's about it. It's just you always just have to be cautious.
Good luck this summer, Nick. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. That's Nick McCrory joining us from Duke, and that is it for today's show. I'm Peter Bush, reminding you to keep your head down at the finish.